Okay, here we go. So I want to go through just a quick briefing. I don't know what you would say, I just want to let you know a few things that I went through before I got to this stage. And this stage worked really well on my Peeps and Sheets, because I was sitting there thinking, I want to show my YouTube viewers, my subscribers, and my likers and something really neat that they could do for Easter, and something that they could kind of have fun with the kids with. And I thought, what about Peeps in Sheets? Now, well, I came up with that idea from Pigs in a Blanket, but we're going to do Peeps in Sheets. So I set out to try and discover how I could put some Peeps in some sheets. First thing I did was I bought some egg roll wraps, wrapped a Peep and some chocolate in an egg roll wrap and tried deep frying it. Well, that was a disaster. The Peeps exploded, melted to nothing, just a real mess in my oil. That wasn't it. So then I thought, well, okay, let's get a pastry and try wrapping the Peep and some chocolate and then baking it. Well, they came out. Only problem is when you bit into them or cut into them, the Peep was totally gone. It totally disintegrated to nothing, and I didn't really want that. I want something that the kids can look at and see a Peep if they really wanted to. They know they got a Peep inside there. Okay, so where did we come to today? I thought about it overnight, and I did some thinking, and I came up with what I need to do is find a pastry, a hollow pastry. So the next morning, I went on Google and I looked up hollow pastry, and I came up with Choux pastry. I think it's spelled C-A-U-X. I can't remember, but it's for eclairs. And I thought, that's perfect. That's a hollow pastry. That's perfect. That's what we need to do. So I got all the stuff from the store, which ain't much. They're really quite easy to make. Found me a good recipe, and I'm going to be using the recipe from, let me go look it up, his name. I want to get it right to give him credit. Okay, Preppy Kitchen. Preppy, P-R-E-P-P-Y, Kitchen on YouTube. And I watch a lot of his videos. He's got some really cool stuff that he does. And he was making eclairs. Well, I'm only interested in it, so I'm going to put a link to the video of his eclairs in the comments below. I'll pin it to the top, because I'm going to use his recipe only for the pastry part. We're not going to use his custard filling and all that stuff. I'm just interested in the pastry. And I did modify it just a little bit from doing other research. Okay, he calls for 1 cup of water. He calls for half a cup of butter cubed, which is 1 stick of butter cubed. He calls for 1.5 teaspoons of sugar, but the batch I made for a test batch were really good, but I feel the pastry could have used just a little bit more sugar. So I'm going to put 2 teaspoons of sugar instead of 1.5. Then he put 1.5 teaspoons of salt and 1 cup of all-purpose flour. And doing more research, because this is really critical to get these ratios right, I found that it's really not it's best to weigh flour, because depending on how much you pack it, you're going to get more if it's more than a cup if you pack it hard, or less than a cup if you sift it and it's not packed at all. You should always go by weight, is the research I found. So a cup of flour should weigh 4.5 ounces or 120 grams, thereabouts on the grams. So I got my scale out, weighed out 4.5 ounces. And then you're going to use 4 large eggs. You're going to put 3 in and see what it looks like, and then you might need the 4th. But my experience was I needed the 4th, and pretty much any of the other recipes I found online, it was 4. So I'll probably just put the 4 in. All right, so we got all that fun stuff put away. Let's get to doing. So I got my oven preheating to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. I got a cookie sheet. I used a half sheet lined with parchment paper and sitting over there ready to go. In my saucepan here, we're going to add my 1 cup of water, my half a cup or 1 stick of butter unsalted, my sugar, which I'm using 2 teaspoons. He calls for 1.5 teaspoons of granulated sugar. And my salt, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Alright, I'm going to move this off to the side, get it out of the way. Now, it says to bring it to a rolling boil over medium-high heat, and he says it takes about 5 minutes. When it's boiling, we're going to take it off the heat, and we're going to add our flour and stir it in. So, let's put this on medium-high, which is 375 on my thing here. We're going to press start, and we're going to heat that up until it's boiled and the water, what do you call it? The butter's all melted. Be right back. Okay, that's a rolling boil, and the butter has all melted. Now he says, stirring with a wooden spoon, add all the flour to this and keep stirring that until its flour is fully incorporated. Not wanting to tempt fate, I got my wooden spoon out, and here we go. I'm going to add all that flour in there, and we're just going to stir that until it's all mixed in and it's nice and smooth. Kind of looks like mashed potatoes. Actually, not kind of, it does. See? Can you see that? Looks like mashed potatoes. Alright, so I'm stirring that and looking for any white flour because we want that all incorporated. And it is pretty much incorporated. Now, it says, once it's all done, incorporated, return the pan to medium heat and stir constantly for 30 seconds or so. He says 30 seconds, but I just keep stirring it till the temperature. Another place I read was the temperature reaches 165 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's what I'm going to shoot for. Medium high start. And this should all come together now while I'm doing this. Well, the temperature thing ain't working. We even had it on there 30 seconds and it's 175. But I'm looking at the bottom of my pan and I'm seeing moisture on there. You kind of want the moisture to be gone when you're stirring this, and plus you're looking for it to come together. Alright, we're going to call that good, since he does say only 30 seconds. We did that probably about 30 seconds. Alright, let me get set up for my mixing part and I'll be right back. Okay, let's get that on there. Always have a problem getting that on there to line up. There you go. Alright, so we'll flip that back. We're going to put our dough in here. Like that. We're going to put our mixing paddle on this attachment. Lower that in there. Lock it up. And we're just going to mix that for a little while. What we want now is for it to cool down a little bit. See all that steam coming off? We're going to be adding eggs to that. So we want to let that cool down a little bit. And that's a good way to cool it down. And I'm probably going to let that go for a minute or two, really, till I stop seeing a lot of steam come off that. Because when we add our eggs, we don't want them to cook. Alright, that stopped steaming. So let's put 4 eggs in there, but you're going to do them one at a time. And you're going to let that egg get totally incorporated before you add the next one. I'm going to open that up and give that a scrape before I add any more on that bottom, especially. And we're using a medium speed. On my KitchenAid, that's about 4. I could go 5. 5 is medium. I'll do 5. Alright, that's 2. We're going to add the 3rd egg. Okay, see, it's a little bit stiff. It's not coming off. It's going to come off in a lump. That's why the 4th egg is needed. Okay, that has come together nicely. We'll give it one scrape to make sure. I can't really show you that. Can you see that way that's dripping off of there? That is perfect. See how that drags down? That's perfect. Apparently. I'm not a pro at it, but I have done it once and it worked good. Alright, let's just make sure that that's all mixed in with a scrape. Alright, now comes the fun part. I got a large piping bag from Amazon. It's a really large one, and 869 piping tip. So we're going to fill our piping bag with all that pastry we just, or batter we just made. You're going to have to forgive my amateurishness for filling this bag, because I'm not a pro at that, but we're going to get it all in there. Alright, now I'm going to try and squeeze it all down. Okay, let's get my baking sheet. Now, we want to make these big enough, long enough to handle one of those Peeps. So you just pipe out, oh, that was an air bubble. One long enough and put them 2 inches apart. Alright, I got 14 out of that. Now what you do is those little tips that I put on there, get your fingers wet, and you can kind of get rid of those uneven parts. Like that one there, I kind of got that thick part there. I want to spread that out just a little bit. Try and get that a little bit more even. Hopefully you guys are seeing this. I'm just basically tidying up the edges here. All right. That one might not be big enough there, but we'll see. All right. So, like I say, my oven's been preheated to get there, mess it there. What is that? Pipe about 4 inches long. Onto the parchment paper. Leave about 2 inches. You dip your fingers in cold water to smooth out any bumps or points of dough. I could now lightly brush those with egg wash, but I didn't on my test batch and they looked all right. So we're going to bake that at 15 minutes at 425 degrees. We are then going, without opening the oven, you don't want to open the oven during any of this. Then without opening the oven, we are going to drop the temperature to 370 degrees and then cook it for about 20 minutes more. So 15 minutes at 375, reduce the temperature, and cook it for another 20 minutes at 15 minutes at 425, reduce the temperature to 375, and cook it for another 20 minutes or until they're golden brown. You don't want to open the oven up during this until the latter part, just after about the 20-minute mark, because they'll deflate. So leave them in there without opening. No peeking. All right, so I'm going to pop these in the oven for 15 minutes. Okay, it is now coming up on the 15-minute mark. I should get a beep any second now. Okay, so now I'm going to reduce the temperature to 375. I still haven't opened the oven door. No peeking. Okay, I set the timer for 20 minutes. And we'll let that cook for another 20 minutes and I'll be right back. Okay, we're almost to the end of my 20 minutes. Here we go. Let's have a look, see what they look like. Oh yeah. Ow. Now we need to put a slit in these so that they don't get soft. Let the steam out. These are very hot. Ow. So be careful. Yeah, I don't know if I'll get that one used. We'll try it. All right. Now we're going to let these cool until we can handle them. So I'll see you probably in about 10 or 15 minutes at least. I don't know. I burnt myself on that edge there, so be careful. Oh, and I've left the oven on because these aren't finished yet. So I've left the oven at 375 and we'll finish these off. And I'll be back for that. Okay, those have cooled down for about 15 minutes or so. Now we are ready to do our final touches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we'll take 6 of each color just to be consistent. So I'm going to finish slitting this where we cut the slit earlier, and we are going to open it up, and we're going to take some rabbit pellets. They're chocolate chips, and we're going to line the bottom of that with some chocolate chips, rabbit pellets. Then we're going to take a Peep and tuck it in there. Tuck it under the sheets. Just like that. Alright. We'll put it on our rack here. Some of these aren't as big as the others, so they'll fit a little bit tighter. But everything should be alright except for that one really small one. I ain't gonna get one in there, I don't think. Alright. Open that up. Put some pellets in there. And try and tuck that rabbit in there. Now see, that one's a little bit overflowing, but that's all right. If I perfected the size of these when I was squeezing them out, it'd be all right, but I ain't done that yet. I'm going to show you a few that are all different sizes of my pastries, just to show you that it can be done with a little manipulation of the marshmallow. Get it tucked under there, bring the sheet up, there we go. I'm going to press on with this and I'll be right back. Alright, there we go. That one's just too small. So, now we're going to pop these back in the oven and we're going to keep a close eye on that. We just want to soften those marshmallows so where they start to expand. They're nice and gooey and the chocolate underneath them gets a little bit melted. So it'll probably be about 2 minutes. I'll go 2 minutes, but I'll keep an eye on it and I'll come back and let you know how long I kept it in there. Alright? And I'm going to put it on my cookie sheet in case any of that marshmallow spills out. I'll be back. Okay, they have cooled down for 20 minutes. So now we're going to add the final touch. Ready Whip, made with real cream, extra creamy whipped cream. Alright, so you can see where the rabbit leaves a gap at the beginning and at the top and the bottom of the rabbit. So we're going to start by filling that with whipped cream. Just poke your nozzle in there and give it a squirt. And then we're just going to finish it off by putting a nice squirt of whipped cream on there. Now these are set for 20 minutes and this is the best way to eat them. Oh man. Oh man. John, you're a genius. Those are so good. I wish you could taste these right now. That marshmallow is nice and fluffy now because it's been warmed up. The chocolate is at the bottom and topped with that whipped cream. Those are so good. Let me see if I can get you a close-up of what that looks like on the inside. If I get some light on it. Look at that. Does that look good or what? Let me tell you. Those are to die for. Peeps and Sheets. Now, like I say, now I think it's a perfect time because that pastry is still nice and crisp and everything from being in the oven. Everything is kind of soft in the inside from being in the oven. But what you could do is, if you didn't want to serve them right away, what I would do is I would, before baking them the second time, i.e. when they come out of the oven, you've let them cool down, slit them, put your rabbit in, put your rabbit pellets in, your rabbit in, and made it look like that except for being reheated. Then you could put those in a, once they're 100% cooled, an airtight sealed container, and probably put it in the fridge for a day, you know. And then when you're ready to serve them, you could preheat your oven to 375, put them on a rack and heat them up, and then let them pull them out of the oven, let them cool down, and put some whipped cream on them. That's the way to do it if you weren't going to serve them right away. Or, and I tried this earlier today when I was doing my experiment, I just took a cold one without reheat, you know, one that had been baked like this, but I let it cool completely down and it sat out for a few hours. And then when I wanted another one, I just picked up a cold one and did that. Oh God, these are so good. And ate it cold. And it was good. So, what do you think of that? We invented something together, you and I. Peeps in Sheets. I hope that catches on the internet because I think these are just gorgeous. But you know, my channel's a freeze drying channel. So we're going to have to try and freeze dry some of these and just see how they come out. Now I know from experience any of that ready whip, when I freeze it, it just turns to powder. So I'm not going to bother putting any on the top. But we'll put a few through the freeze dryer in this next run here. And just see how they come out freeze dried. Let's put a pink one on there. Couple pink ones. If I had a ready board from all my experimenting. All right, so there you go. Next time you see those, they'll be coming out of the freeze dryer. I'm going to enjoy this beautiful Peeps in Sheets. I want your eyes to tell me, I want you to give me a thumbs up for this one. Come on. I'm not asking much. And tell me what you think. Peeps in Sheets. A new creation by John and Bibbs. Oh my God. Those are just to die for. Now, I use Ready Whip because I'm lazy and my piping skills leave a lot to be desired, but you could easily whip up your own whipped cream and pipe it on here, and it would be a more substantial cream, probably taste even better, but I just don't have the skill to do that, and I kind of like the Ready Whip. But there's another option for you. If you're good at piping, that'd be a great way to do it. I gotta stop eating these. I've been eating them all day during my test run. All right. So next time you see me, we'll be bringing these out of the freeze dryer and do a taste test on them. I'll see you then. All right. They puffed up in the freeze dryer. I ran these for 40 hours with something else, but they puffed up in the freeze dryer. They look very edible. So that one didn't puff up as much as some of them did. But let's bite into one and see what a freeze-dried Peeps in Sheets tastes like with no whipped cream. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Those are very good. Can you see that? That Peep doubled in size about. So if you have I have a 4-shelf medium with a high shelf on it, the spacing higher. So if you have a 5-shelf medium, you might want to put some parchment paper over those before you stick them in there, because they might rise up tall enough to hit the top of your next shelf. But they didn't touch mine. You can see how thick that Peep is gotten. Those are very, very good. The chocolate's still at the bottom there. It's solidified now because these cooled down a little bit from being out of the freeze dryer. I packaged one of my loads. I don't want to say because I think I'm putting this out before I'm doing that load, but I packaged the 3 trays of that before I got to these. And that chocolate has almost solidified. I am surprised. I'm not gonna lie. I thought, well, nothing beats the fresh, but I thought that these freeze dried might not be anywhere comparable to the fresh, and they are very comparable. Very nice. As expected, the Ready Whip didn't hold up as well as, say, if you had made your own whipped cream and piped that, it might hold up better. But we only filled the ends anyway. Man, these are really good. I wasn't sure if I didn't label up any bags, because I thought, well, they might not be good enough to waste a bag on. I'm bagging those 3 up and we're putting those away. Sometime in the future, we'll dig one out. God willing, I'm still here in 5 years or so. We'll pull one out and taste test it then. I have to say, these are gorgeous. I don't sell my stuff, but some of my viewers might might use some of my ideas and sell them. So I'm going to make a recommendation to you sellers out there. When you put your Peep in, put it with its face down, because the chocolate, the little bitty eyeballs and all that, melts on the Peep when you're baking it, and it just looks like a dirty spot. We know what it is, but a customer picking it up might not know what it is. You solve that problem by, if you put the face down, those little bitty dots of chocolate won't melt, and it won't look like a dirty spot on your Peep. Little tips of the trade there, if I were in the trade, but I'm not. Just me. Those were gorgeous. That is delicious. I'm gonna bag these up. Probably just put one to a meal pouch, because it's quite substantial there for a snack. And put a 300cc O2 absorber in there and do a heat seal. I hope you enjoyed this. This was a really, really fun video to do. Fun because there were some challenges to overcome, as we talked about earlier. And I really enjoy overcoming challenges and making something that is gorgeously delicious. So I'm super happy with these. Kind of hoping that, you know, it kind of catches on and it becomes a thing all around America. You know, at Easter time, people will be making Peeps and Sheets. Who knows? You know, who knows where it'll go. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.